Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Well, there's another whale alert. Massive quantity of XRP getting moved all over the Webernets on the blockchain stuffs. And so I'm going to cover that, but you know what I'm perhaps more interested in running through is just this idea of XRP, investing in XRP, but for the long haul. And what got me thinking about this was an article which I'm going to share with you in this video also. And it quotes Dan Moorhead, who is the CEO of Pantera Capital. Now, Pantera Capital is the first investment firm on the planet to invest in Bitcoin, in cryptocurrencies, period. And so they've been around an astonishing 6 years. I know it sounds short when you say six, but they were the first. So just kind of a friendly reminder that cryptocurrency and blockchain hasn't really existed all that long. So I got some interesting facts and some personal takes I'd like to share with you on that topic. I also have a story I'm going to share with you at the end of this video from Cointelegraph titled Bitcoin Can Be a Reliable Financial Instrument After All, says Mark Cuban. Yes, Shark Mark Cuban, which is kind of interesting after the banana comment that he made. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'll talk about it later. He's talking about Bitcoin and bananas. Ain't making no damn sense. But before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, and perhaps even investing long-term in XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, because this is indeed an XRP-centric channel, and we be partying her a day. So the first piece comes from Daily Huddle, and it's titled, Ripple sends 220,303,137 XRP to crypto exchange Bitstamp as Bitcoin whales move 6,200 Bitcoin. And this piece is pretty short here. A big transaction from the San Francisco startup Ripple is turning heads among crypto traders. The company moved 220 million XRP, I'm rounding there, worth about 49.2 million on Monday. The XRP was sent to the Luxembourg-based exchange Bitstamp. And you can see there's the whale alert on the screen right there. Ripple owns more than half of the total supply of XRP and sells portions of its holdings over the counter to exchanges and institutional players on a routine basis. Now, a couple of things I wanted to mention there before I forget. Dan Moorhead, I'm going to talk a little bit about him and some of his thoughts as it pertains to cryptocurrency and the long-term outlook for cryptocurrency as an asset class. He is on, I think he's on the board. Did I say? It's in the article. I'll pull it back up, but he is associated with Bitstamp. And so I found that fascinating. Now, Bitstamp is one of 4 publicly announced Ripple on-demand liquidity partner exchanges, with the others being Bittrex, Coins.ph in the Philippines, and Bitso in Mexico. So Bitstamp, and you know, that's why I'm telling you, there's going to be all sorts of whale alerts in perpetuity, because this is an actual Twitter account. I think it just automatically alerts, right? So just wait. As on-demand liquidity really gets a rocking and rolling, there's going to need to be a constant rebalancing of XRP accounts the world over as it pertains to like the liquidity providers. Because you can imagine, if you have a corridor, even if XRP is being used as a bridge currency to send money both ways in a corridor, there's going to be inevitably more of that XRP going in one direction compared to the other direction. And that means that you're going to run out of XRP on one exchange potentially if you're the exchange that's actually providing it. Now, of course, maybe a bunch of individuals keep adding more and more XRP. That can be one way that liquidity liquidity is increased on an exchange. But if there's massive quantities of exchanges, transactions going on in these exchanges, another way is, look, if you're an exchange and you need more XRP to facilitate these transactions, you got to source it from somewhere. And maybe it would be Ripple. Maybe that would be one source, but maybe you're getting it from other partner exchanges. There's going to be all sorts of transactions as a result there, and we'll just kind of have to see what that looks like. Now, Dan Moorhead, here's I just pulled up for the fun of it. Here's his Twitter account right there, and I am following him. And Pantera Capital, I just followed them today. I didn't realize. I'm kind of surprised that I wasn't already following them. But I tell you what, Dan Moorhead, he's an interesting guy. last year in October, Moonbay and we went to a blockchain conference in Los Angeles, and Dan Moorhead was one of the guys that was interviewed on stage, and he's a really sharp guy. I really enjoyed listening to what he had to say. He's got a pretty reasoned approach to his outlook on cryptocurrency, asset class, and blockchain in general here. And so I'm looking forward to running through the piece. Just real quick here, here's the Pantera website. And again, you can see here, founded in 2013 as the first U.S. Bitcoin investment firm. And here's a quote from Dan Moorhead. "We believe digital currency is at an inflection point, making it the right time for a transition to more institutional management." And of course, that is indeed the route they're going. Now, take a look at this. So here's the headline from Daily Huddle on this piece. Pantera Capital CEO releases year-end Bitcoin and crypto review. And conceptually, so with me, this is an XRP-centric channel. I'm coming at it from the perspective of an XRP community member and XRP holder. But this is important. So check this out. Pantera Capital CEO Dan Moorhead just released a year-end look at the current state of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Moorhead says he thinks investors in Bitcoin and distributed ledger technology should view their assets with a long-term lens and expect to reap the rewards in a span of about 5 to 10 years. Now, 5 to 10 years as you're thinking of your XRP holdings. I know that's not a number that maybe many of you want to hear, okay? But I want to kind of parse the words out here, or at least the concept. So for me, I'm going to hold XRP forever. I'm never going to sell all of it. I'm a very long-term guy, and I'm very patient. I'm going to outpatient you, anyone listening to this. We can make a bet on that. All right. I'm just trying to make the point that for me, first of all, there's no emotion in my buying and selling whatsoever. I'm just here based on fundamentals. That's it. I'm not here as a trader, anything else, just based on the fundamentals. And so I know a lot of people are like, when Moon, when Lambo. I mean, I say that jokingly. That's why my channel has the stupidest name possible. Moon Lambo, come on, man. Well, I have a sense of humor, whatever. But 5 to 10 years, that doesn't even sound bad to me, frankly. I know to some of you out there, but look, I'm also not saying it. Well, first of all, I don't make price predictions, but I'm also not stating that you have to wait 5 to 10 years to see some sort of tremendous financial gains. I think if I had to guess, and again, not financial advice, I don't make predictions, I don't read charts, I will not be the least bit surprised if we see a parabolic price action prior to that, given that it's already been a while since we first entered a bear market in 2018. I'd kind of be surprised if we didn't see something, inside of the next 5 years. And that's like a meaningful something. And not just for Bitcoin, but for altcoins as well. That would kind of surprise me. But I don't know that to be the case. This is a very young asset class, and you can look at the 10-year history and draw some conclusions, perhaps. Some data is better than none, but we don't know. But I think that most of this, and you'll see opinions from, I'm going to share the rest of what Dan Moorhead had to say here, but I just tend to think for those that are willing to hold even past the next parabolic run-up, I suspect, again, not financial advice, but I suspect that the benefits for those who are willing to hold even longer, if you're not trying to time the market, and again, there will be downward trends, I suspect that the gains would be that much better. Anyway, Moorhead, who's also the chairman, I was right, so he's the chairman of Bitstamp and a board member at BitPesa, suggests that investors look at crypto assets with a venture-style mindset, highlighting the fact that investors who've been in the space since 2010 have experienced substantial returns. And just to highlight what I'm talking here about being willing to hold long-term, and again, not telling you what to do, but imagine if you were holding Bitcoin from 2010 and then you sold it at like the beginning of 2017. Because you've already been in it at that point, roughly 7 years. But you know what happened at the end of 2017? Bitcoin went all the way up. You still could have made a ton of money. I'm not discounting that fact. But I'm just saying that, if you are one of those that's willing to hold at least some for a very long period of time, who knows? There could be an opportunity for something a bit more substantial. That's the only point I'm trying to make there. Anyway, Bitcoin has been Tro 8 bull. Oh my God! That was me. I was looking at it wrong. My eyes were blurry. Bitcoin has been through 8 bull and bear market cycles since December of 2010, and according to Moorhead's data, the median bull market cycle has lasted 158 days while generating an 11 times return on investment. 11 times return. Meanwhile, the medium drawdown is 113 days with a decline of 57%. Think about that. 11 times gain and 57% decline. Interesting, right? He argues the fundamentals that influence Bitcoin's price movements are a lot stronger now when compared to the 2014 and 2015 crypto bear market. And here's a quote from him now. With leading endowments and companies like Yale, Fidelity, JP Morgan, and Bakkt, which is owned by ICE, now in blockchain, coupled with scalability improvements, I think we'll continue on the same logarithmic trend. And then the piece continues, 3 main obstacles to Bitcoin and crypto adoption remain, according to Moorhead. He says blockchain platforms need to be able to process larger amounts of application data and transactions, new fiat on-ramps allowing easy conversions between digital currencies and government-backed money need to be created. ILP, you ever heard of ILP? And proper infrastructure for the development of more sophisticated, decentralized applications have to emerge for the industry to thrive in the long run. So cool stuff there. I would love to hear your takes on this in terms of long-term. Like, what's long-term to you in it? Because that's a rather subjective term there. For me, I don't know. 10 years. That sounds kind of long-term to me. I'll be here, though. You look, I'm definitely going to be here. I love following this stuff. Here's a tweet from Dean. Hashtag XRP, hashtag Link, and many other cryptocurrencies have great potential. We just need more money and companies coming into crypto in general. And then he tagged me along with somebody else who I hadn't seen before, and I'm guessing, yeah, that's right. So they're in the Link community. That's why I wasn't familiar with that. So shout out to you, Dean. Thank you very much for including me there. I thought I'd highlight your tweet here. And plus, it kind of went perfectly in hand with the concept of holding long term because, yeah, more money needs to come in, but inevitably it will. It's just the way markets work. It's just there's periods of excitement and euphoria, and then there's a bear market where there's less attention. But these things are cyclical, so inevitably, given that cryptocurrency as an asset class is here to stay, I think I have an idea of what's coming. Maybe nobody really knows, but I suspect it's going to be rather positive. I'll just say that. This next piece I got from XRP Crypto Wolf. He's all over it. Shout out to you, good sir. Bitcoin can be a reliable financial instrument, after all, says Mark Cuban. One of the most outspoken critics of Bitcoin has delivered mixed messages about its reliability as a financial asset. In comments to Forbes, published on December 10th, that's yesterday, Mark Cuban appeared to contradict himself on Bitcoin's overall utility. When asked whether or not the cryptocurrency could become a reliable financial instrument, the Dallas Mavericks owner gave two differing responses. One was, not a chance. That's what he wrote at first. Subsequently, he added, it is a collectible. If you consider art or gold a viable, stable financial asset, then yes, it can be. So there you go. Technically, if you want to parse the words out, that's what he means. But he's not exactly a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency bull. I don't think it would be fair to say. And there was a recent story. I didn't have it pulled up here now. I kind of wish I had just to explain it properly. But I'll just try and pull from memory, and that's just going to have to be good enough. Give it the old college try. But there was some sort of quote where he was saying that he doesn't. It was some sort of negative comment about Bitcoin specifically. And it had something to do with his value, if I'm not misremembering. He said that he'd rather have bananas than Bitcoin. That's essentially it. Like, he'd rather just have a bunch of bananas. It was something to that effect. I don't know. It sounds kind of stupid, especially as I'm saying it. But that's it, man. Anyway, thanks so much for stopping by. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!